The MoneroTopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
Yo, body, GM.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How's it going?
Yeah, it's good.
Crazy week.
Yeah, I guess so.
Some bumps, some bigger ones, some smaller ones.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of jealousy going around these days. I've been off of Twitter lately. I've given up.
You're waving the Zcash flag?
Yeah, well, I'm waving the shadow ban flag, right? Mr. Musk has decided to shadow ban me, so it's my engagement dropped like 10x overnight a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's disheartening. You're like, well, no one's gonna hear what I say anyways. So, and there's nothing going on. Like, there's nothing there. Like, none of it's interesting anymore. It's just like, I don't know.
Nothing ever happens.
Antifa versus Fed boys. Some guys said the N word, and then let's see. And obviously Charlie Kirk. Like, there's nothing going on.
What do you think the shadow ban was a result of?
Oh, I told some guy to get slapped, and then they banned me for 12 hours, and when I came back, I just had nothing. They said I was engaged in violence or something. I was like, are you kidding me?
Body getting himself in trouble on.
I'm surprised you said that. You normally don't go that route.
Sometimes some people just need to get slapped. They just
True, real and true.
I didn't say I was going to slap him.
Right. Okay.
But I do also want to point out the very interesting dichotomy between Monero's semi-recent pump and Zcash's recent pump is that Monero's was purely organic because somebody really quickly wanted to get as much privacy as possible versus Zcash is where it's a little bit of there's more some shilling going on, some influencers being paid. It's a little less on that organic side. I'm sure there's plenty of organicness to it, seeing how it seems like Zcash has been worth nothing for a long time. But this isn't like the first time this has happened as well. Like, you look at the Zcash chart, you see these insane round trips several times throughout the history of its lifetime. So
this one's worse than most of the other ones. I mean, it hasn't round tripped yet. I'm actually suspecting that it might not round trip, guys. Like, if I'm being really honest here, they are probably willing to throw some dollars at this to try and keep this thing propped up to some level.
Yeah,
I mean,
like I keep saying, people can buy into it. They can buy into. Right,
it can be promoted on Binance, Coinbase. Also.
I don't think those are relevant factors. Those have been factors for the past 8 years, 7 years.
Yeah, but it's a factor when you're trying to when they're throwing fuel to the fire and trying to cause a pump, right? People are most interested in crypto is trying to find the next 10x, right? That's all they care about. Right?
Yeah,
there's the 0.01% that cares about the tech and building digital cash. Most people are there to try to figure out, all right, what can I gamble on?
But are those people the ones really making the price move?
No, but they could become a factor is what I'm saying. I think those people could get pulled in. I think they are a little bit already. I mean, we saw with Dogecoin, right? Look at Dogecoin.
It's not that there's zero people. Well, Dogecoin is a whole different phenomenon. Zcash and Dogecoin have nothing. They're not similar here in any way in terms of their price mechanics and what's.
If you take into account how niche Monero is, and then you think about Zcash, it's minuscule compared to Monero in terms of the overall attention it's gotten over its lifespan. In my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm just saying is, when Monero has these moments of. Where it is getting promoted, right? People are talking about it. You're not with that also getting the noobs that can jump in on it. Whereas with Zcash, it's having this moment, plus it's more noob accessible.
Are these noobs in the room with us now?
Yeah, they're probably not. They're probably not watching MoneroTopia now. Maybe we get them one day when they. I don't know, but
There's some noobs in crypto, but they're not going to Zcash or Monero. They're going to Ripple and Dogecoin. Maybe like
cannot tell you how many people have asked me.
I mean, when they see a pump, though, don't they go and check it out? I don't know.
They yes and no. Like the noobs that we're getting, they're not like the noobs that we're getting are like the boomers. We're getting boomers, you know, maybe some Gen Xers in there. You know, the Zoomers are always like, you know, getting older, so they're always buying some new crypto, whatever. But Zoomers don't have money, right? It's the boomers have money, and the boomers are always asking about Ripple, like constantly. I mean, Tux has seen it.
Last night I had one ask me about it.
That's a signal. By the way, like that's something I learned last bull market. I had a buddy that he was getting into crypto, and he was like, yeah, man, I want to get more into crypto. I know you're all about it. And I mean, I already bought Dogecoin, but what else? And I was like, you already bought Dogecoin. He's like, yeah, that's the first one I bought. That should have been a signal to me because that's totally outsider, completely new to crypto, bought Dogecoin first before even asking me. That was a signal. And
before
now
buying Bitcoin too.
Well, he didn't even buy Bitcoin at first. He bought Dogecoin. That was his literal first purchase.
Amazing.
I should have taken that as a signal. It was a lesson I learned when Dogecoin.
Well, that was my first crypto purchase too, but. Granted, that was in 2013, so it was a little different.
Cryptocurrency I actually used to send a real transaction over the network.
Doge was the first crypto I bought, and I used PayPal to buy some on Reddit.
They called Bitcoin the gateway, but apparently it's Doge.
Yeah. I think so.
God, I wish I held on to that Doge. That $50 worth of Doge would be more than anything I would have done in any other crypto. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, now it's Ripple. It was actually just a few days ago. A family member said, "Hey, I have," and they never asked me about crypto, and their friends never asked them about crypto. So maybe once a year.
But Zcash has that Silicon Valley in the, you know, they're connected to the legacy system in a way where they could, like, you know, in a different way than Ripple.
It's not because the noobs came and bought Zcash. It's because the cabal is propping it up. Don't get me wrong.
But I'm saying that could it then, you know, the kindling is there, and now there's oxygen that can come into that fire from the noobs.
Maybe, but I wouldn't count on it. Right? Like the people that are going to buy Zcash are the guys like Vlad, and some of the other big corporate names. I've seen a few of them out there with a few 100,000 followers. Like those are the guys. But I don't believe that necessarily. Like Vlad's probably honest, but a lot of these guys are not. Like a lot of these guys, they've got, like, I won't name any names because some of them come on the show, but some of these guys, it's hard for me to believe that they weren't given a bag or given some kind of incentive in some way under the table that we don't know about. That's technically not being paid off, so they can like honestly say, no, they don't sponsor me. But
yeah, well, Vlad is very open about his, you know, he's always been he's been pro Monero, pro Zcash. You know, there was a time when he wasn't even as pro. I think he's more pro Monero than he ever was. I think he gives his honest takes.
Yeah, I think he's honest. I think he's genuine. But what I'm getting at is that there are a few names out there that are like, there's a few people out there that are like, okay, they buy some Zcash, right? There's some small level of interest there, but there's not 3x overnight interest in Zcash. Like that's nonsense. Why don't we just take a look at this price chart? Like this is nonsense price movement, guys. Like,
do you also think, like I was saying at the outset, I think it's not that distributed Zcash, right? Like, because the price has been low for so long. You have these VCs that were probably accumulating even more and more to kind of corner the market on it. Do you think there's...
Yeah, no, that's extremely centralized. They've been, right. I mean, there's one ASIC miner owns like 70% of the hash rate, and they've had it for a long time. And they have 25% dev tax, and they've had it since forever. Yeah, this coin is massively centralized. It's held by VCs, and that's how they can like pay off big accounts to promote it.
Exactly.
But this is a nonsense. Like, you don't. Let's take a measurement here. Let's just like look at this. This happened in all of about 3 days. That's 3x. You don't 3x in 3 days because noobs came into the market, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you somebody, some VC or some like market maker, right? Some exchange, whoever, the consortium of all of those people, they all pumped Zcash. Like somebody decided out there to pump Zcash, and that's why we have a 3x overnight. Yes. This is not an organic pump.
And that's not what I was saying, though. I'm not saying that this was organic, but I'm saying now this now they see this flame out there. The noobs see like, ooh, this is the bright candle, ooh, and they start walking towards it.
They see
Like,
flames like that everywhere. Like there's coins that do this all the time.
nah, I
Look at
mean,
Ripple. What do you mean?
yeah,
Nah?
but this is one that they did, and then they forced out. They pushed it out there on social media, and so.
Here's
I
a
don't think the
XRP.
Zcash influence. Like, I think I understand where Body's going. It's like the people who would have seen that and bought into it are people who are already into cryptocurrency, not like new people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's a lot of new Zcash holders, but they're not crypto noobs. They're just people who saw that and they're like, oh, now I'm going to get a Zcash because this thing is starting to make some moves.
Right.
And of course, Naval, who has like almost, I think, 3 million followers on X, posted about Zcash like mid pump. I think it was around when it was like $70. And he's got like 3 million followers on X, and maybe he was paid to do that. I don't know. But he's suddenly decided to, I'm gonna post Zcash as if I've like always known it's been this good buy or something.
Yeah,
like
you had a bunch of big names like like
suddenly come out of the
Balaji.
woodworks deciding to talk about it now that it's mid pump. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. You're not wrong. Like there's going to be some new people coming into Zcash, but it's not going to be the kind to support a 3x, a 10x price movement, indefinitely.
In like a fucking day or two, it was like a few days, right?
Yeah, like first of all, it's not obviously that within 3 days or 2 days, like that's like no, just no. But second of all, on a long-term basis, that's not going to be enough people to support that price. What's going to happen, it tends to happen almost always with these coins when they pump like this, new people come into the market. That's the exit liquidity. That's the game being played here. People get dumped on into as exit liquidity. Let's take a look at FTT token. These guys pumped. I'm just trying to show you that like, wow. Oh, okay. That was from a long time
Zuko
ago.
wants his Lambo.
Let's see. FTT pumped recently. Yeah, not nearly as much. All I'm getting at is that like these coins do this all the time. Coins pump 3x all the time. Like this isn't too crazy of a happening. Now it's crazy for Zcash. Like that almost never happens for Zcash. But I mean, look at Pirate Chain. Like Pirate Chain from bottom to top has done like, what is that? Also a 3x, right? Almost. And in just a few days, like in just a very short period of time, Pirate Chain, did a 3x, just under a 3x within a matter of like a week or so. So like Zcash isn't unique in the sense that it pumped like to this level. So I'm just saying that like I wouldn't like take this too far. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, it's happening, right? It's fine, it's happening, and now all the noobs are coming in. They're gonna pile into Zcash. Like if they are, they're gonna get dumped on at some point. Maybe not quite yet, but yeah, this one's actually pretty bad, guys. Like this is more of a pump than we've seen Zcash make ever. This is XMR versus Zcash, right? So we're looking at Monero versus Zcash, and we see this every bull market, right? You see this in the bull market where Monero goes down, you get these sharp drop offs, versus Zcash. At the start of the bull market, we had one of these as well, and then we're having it again. So.
And I also want to point out the interesting timing of this pump right off the back of Monero being actually attacked by some organization with a lot of money, a ton of money. Conveniently, like basically right after that, Zcash is suddenly being promoted. We see medium to large streamers starting to shill it, and some directly being paid to shill, Gainsey specifically. So I don't know if there's any connection there at all. I'm not saying, but it is interesting timing. This coming out right off the back of Monero being severely attacked, and a lot of FUD and propaganda around it. So,
no, I agree. I think that knowing everything we know about the history of what's happened with Monero and the kinds of attacks we've had for the past 5-6 years, we absolutely have to ask that question and say, hey, could there be a connection there? It wouldn't be an unreasonable thing that something like that's going on. Could just be opportunistic, right? Maybe they're just acting opportunistic.
Very possibly, yep.
Or it could be something more coordinated. We'll never know. But I think it's reasonable to be suspicious of that. Cubic making a comeback. We talked about this. We said, hey, be careful. People think, oh, it's over for Cubic. This attack is done. Bye, come from beyond. But he's coming from back from down yonder, right? He's
from
high or low.
Be behind.
come from behind.
Privacy OG did say Zcash is
sorry.
very little transaction activity. If look at bit info charts, it did explode right as it started pumping. But it is a good point that the average transactions per day was like 2.3K. And this is one of the other concerns that I think is very valid about Zcash is the fact that there are heuristical concerns around the effectiveness of the shielded pool simply because of how low the actual transactions are. Because you look at the daily transactions, which has been an average of 2 to 2.5K for quite a while. And then you subtract the Coinbase transactions, which is way more than Monero. And then you subtract transparent transactions. And what you're left with is a much even smaller amount of shielded pool transactions. So I guess the effectiveness of that is still to be known. My understanding is that it shouldn't matter too much. Like once you have a fair amount of transactions with their shielded pool, it should be the privacy should be pretty high. But there is heuristical concerns because of just how low the transaction count is in general.
Yeah. I wish BitInfo charts posted the shielded transactions because, here's another thing that's happened. Look at this. Zcash went from 2,500 transactions per day. Now it's at 10,000. It just spiked up there again. It's like, no.
Are you saying this is only transparent and not shielded?
These are total Zcash transactions. There's no,
total.
It's not just
okay. No differentiation from their side. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I've seen this before. Like Litecoin did this and it did a 4.5x in 10 days back in 2020 or 2021 in terms of its transaction counts. And then it went up to 200,000 and just stayed there. It's fake. They're fake transactions. And when you own 70% of the ASIC hash power, and if you're trying to like coordinate a pump and falsify effectively, wash trade, it's not the right term here exactly, but just think of it like wash trading. It's the same idea. To wash trade the Zcash transactions, to wash Zcash transactions, to make it look like there's adoption. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I wonder if there isn't going to be a larger push to try and make Zcash, to try and fake Zcash adoption, to generate Zcash adoption, to try and give Monero some kind of competitor. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, in which case we're going to have a lot more Zcash shills coming out of the woodwork. It's not that they have like terrible, like, and I think Tux, you've posted about this over the past week. It's not that their technology is terrible. For a long time we were kind of like, hey, is this moon math made by the Israeli government or all these, like DARPA research and naval research? Like, is this trustable? And I guess maybe probably it is now. Like a lot of things came out of DARPA that are trustable, reasonably trustable. And it's had more time to get reviewed. So I don't know. I guess it's fine. But, obviously the problem is it's a corporate coin. It's massively centralized. It's completely controlled by corporate interests. We like the whole thing, their whole fucking thing is shady as fuck. And it's like, why should we pay off some corporate assholes like Barry Silbert, and all the other guys? Like, I have
Shilbert.
Yeah. I just have no interest in this coin as like a digital freedom money.
Not as a digital freedom money, but if you want to ride a wave, just like throwing $50 on Dogecoin in 2013, right? There's elements there. Just the fact that Barry Shilbert is out there shilling it nonstop.
I didn't even know about that. That's really funny.
I don't think Zcash is gonna hit 100x here. Like they might get some like reasonably sustained positive price pressure potentially. Or maybe not. Maybe they just crash back down. They have a history of just crashing back down and round tripping. So they might just score in their users for all we know.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on if the bull market's still in play for the broader ecosystem, right? So
it is, but that doesn't mean Zcash is going for 100x here, right? Like Zcash is not Dogecoin. Like random noobs from all across everywhere were buying Dogecoin in 2021 because of the dog. Like that's not happening with Zcash. Like I've never heard another person ever ask me about Zcash or Monero for that matter, other that wasn't already in the freedom community. So
I've got Monero asked before, never Zcash. So
yeah,
the other like the other thing to consider too is full chain membership proofs is around the corner for Monero. This is like Zcash's last moment to try to gain ground on Monero, right?
Yeah.
Because
that's once again, that's why they're taking advantage of this opportunity that they have this limited window of Monero being attacked and looking like it might not be as good as it really is. Zcash has a couple of things. Sorry, go ahead.
it makes strategic sense if you have resources to use them now to try to gain ground on Monero, because once full chain membership proofs are implemented, it's going to be a lot harder to gain ground.
That's like the last point that Zcash people have like against Monero. But even then, it's still like so far nobody, no corporation entity, no one has been able or has proven to be able to deterministically trace Monero transactions, even with its current system, which is what a lot of people still get wrong. But this is why I was fudding it earlier this week. It's like I'm not salty because the price is going up. I actually have some Zcash. I'm fudding it because it's so inorganic. There's so many things around it that point to it not being legitimate, and I don't think Zcash deserves this kind of limelight because of the reasons surrounding around it. Now, once again, like Body was saying, or Doug was saying, Zcash is probably very undervalued. It has been for a while, but the reason it's undervalued is probably because they do shit like this. They do these forced pumps, and then they treat the new people as exit liquidity, and then it goes back down. And this is just another one of these things. Will it stay up higher? Will they try to keep it up? Maybe. We'll see. But it's just shady as hell, and it's just so it's so unlike Monero, where Monero pumps because somebody stole Bitcoin and literally tried to put $30 billion through Monero as quickly as possible. That is like the most definitive proof of Monero being like the real shit, the real deal, you know? So anyway,
I have a hard time saying that Zcash is undervalued. Like it might be underutilized in terms of its shielded transaction capacity, but in terms of like who holds it and the very centralized nature of I assume that it's massively centralized. You wouldn't have DCG with Barry Silbert, and it wouldn't be on Coinbase and Gemini and all these other exchanges that refuse to list Monero. The suits wouldn't be so heavily into Zcash and to promoting it if it wasn't centrally held, right? If they didn't have big bags. And again, 70% ASIC mined, right? 70% of the hash power, not just 70% ASIC mined, 100% ASIC mined, 70% of the hash power held by one entity. So like it's the supply is massively centralized. So it's hard for me to say it's overvalued. It might be undervalued. It might be underutilized, but privacy in general is underutilized, I would say, across crypto.
So I read, but had to talk about this because it became a conversation. But yeah, we will gladly move on to
please do
Monero price report.
Price report on Monero. All right. Well, obviously Monero versus Zcash. Time to.
It's a big, it's a conversation that people are having. So
Red, we talk about it every day. We have to look at the macro, but to call Zcash macro would be a sin. It would be a crime against the price report and all Monero people, all Monero denizens, to use the word that some people hate. I don't even know what that word is supposed to be different from citizens. I guess just participants, whatever. Onwards we go. All right, so we're looking here, Monero USD. We too had a pump. Look, we had 20%. Woo! All right. If we just do 10x more of that, we could have what Zcash has. Lord, awesome. I see what you've done for others. Actually, that would be praying to Satan, I'm pretty sure, in the corporate crypto cabal. I didn't mean to call the suits Lord or there. Anyways. All right, yeah. So we actually did have our own little pump. It's kind of a good thing if you look at this. This is actually nice that we have double topped. I do sometimes believe in double tops, but in this case, no. You'll see that we basically hit. We're just riding up against this upper standard deviation line. It's actually been a sort of capping point for a while. Don't be surprised if things do a little bit of that and then go to the upside again. So Monero price looking very good right now, organically looking good. A lot of volatility, right? We had the bump up, and then we're kind of going back and forth here. Crypto in general, right, is positive. Like we've said, this is a bull market. We're in a bull market. It's not over yet. So get long and stay long. I wasn't quite sure last week what the next direction would be, but apparently it was up. So, but yeah, in general, like the overall price is up here, and that's probably what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at the slightly longer timeline to see maybe what kinds of targets we're looking for. Obviously, we're looking for the really at this point now it's about $550, $600, and you can see why that line is slightly curving up. This chart has such a gold feel to it. Like in terms of long-term behavior performance, gold had a very similar chart. We used to talk about this for a long time. Haven't talked about the similar dynamics of Monero to gold because gold finally broke out But this is effectively a rising triangle, right? So I think Monero should expect effectively to hit this upper line on a long-term basis, this guy right there. And it's going to take some doing to get over that line. Either some kind of very big fundamental event is going to need to happen all at once and just smash things above that line, or or it's going to take some time to actually like to break that line. So we could do this, maybe come back down, right? And then do that again, right? This could take, honestly, guys, it could take a few years to break.
No way, buddy. Come
Yeah, I
on.
know, man. I'm done lying to you
way.
guys. But I've lied to you guys. Like, honestly, I've biased my reports enough in the past, and I feel bad about it because in some cases my biases have led to not the best like determination of what's going to happen with Monero prices. So yeah, bros, this is going to take some time to break without some major fundamental event. Anything can happen, right? There's no reason that anything has to obey my lines. But in terms of the way that price performance has behaved and the kinds of trickery we've seen, we just have to expect that it could take some time to get through that line. Maybe it can happen, right? Maybe we could just go up here and hit 1,000, set a new all-time high. That would be really, really positive. But I don't know. That's just what my intuition combined with the lines and all, and everything says like this.
Fair enough. My gut is saying otherwise.
Testicle analysis. All right. Let's see here. Let's get rid of. We got Polo on here. Polo's just a big mess. Poloniex. God, Justin Sun, get your shit together. All right, there we go. All right, so these are the price divergences relative to Kraken, and remember we had big price divergences while when Kraken finally came back up. They seem to have normalized now, but notice they still tend to trend on the downside, especially CoinEx. MEXC is generally around the 0 point, but you get a notable feel that this chart is still a little bit, they still try to ride a little bit lower than Kraken. It's not that they have any Monero anyways, but whatever. All right, so Bitcoin versus Monero, we're in this phase where it's volatility is reducing, right? Big down, big up, right? Yeah, this volatility is constraining, right? You can see the orange lines here, right? Hopefully you can see that. These are the orange lines, the upper standard deviations. Expect to spend some more time constrained inside this orange band before some kind of breakout happens. So, but there's still gains to be had here. Like hypothetically, that's a 30% up, right? There's also 30% towards the downside, 20% towards the downside in terms of the ratio that you could be getting on Bitcoin versus Monero. So you could probably trade this if you wanted to. I don't have any opinion on this chart where it's going to go in the near term, in the short term. It could go anywhere. Wave magic is pretty good. These wavy, colorful lines they're pretty good at the extremes. They let you identify when something is either at a boundary and it's going to have resistance or support, or is breaking through kind of a pivot point, right? That's kind of what these charts tell you. At this moment, this chart, the wave magic wouldn't really tell you anything about where the next movement for price would be here. So that should be mostly Monero. Let's take a look at the transactions because those have actually been coming up a little bit. So Monero transactions per day have come up just ever so slightly from the 25 kind of up here at the 30, but still very much in trend for the long time frame in terms of what we've seen. Let's take a look at the hash rate. Hash rate also basically hanging out around 5 gigas, hanging out around, near the sort of top side of where we've been. There was this period where cubic seemed to drop out, and I guess they're back, but I don't think we've seen any massive big reorgs. I don't know if they're worried about legal risk. Maybe that's because I'm pretty sure they can do more reorgs than what they've been doing. They actually reorged the chain far less often than they could have done it. Depending on the kind of strategy that they want to use, my simulation shows that they can do all kinds of strategies, right? They could be perfectly silent and then do big reorgs. It costs them money to do that, I'm pretty sure. And then they could just do, they can always try and create contention for the chain head and then just reorg consistently, right? Often like block, 2 blocks here, 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 1 block. They could reorg in that kind of fashion. And that's a more profitable scheme for them. But when we say profitable, guys, you need to understand we're talking a few percentage above what they would otherwise get. But they don't even have 33% of the hash power. They might have right around 33% of the hash power, and that's their 0 point. That's 33% is where selfish mining becomes that's the 0 point, because below that, you don't make any profit off of selfish mining. You don't make any profit. You can only disrupt the chain. That's all they could do is if you're below 33%. There's some nuance to that. You could hypothetically get other miners to mine on your blocks, but that's really hard to do because the miners are data centers and connected to each other. So it's really hard to insert yourself in between other pools, right? It's hard to insert yourself between the other pools, but Cubic could, there's some amount of gamma that they can use to sort of juice that system and have a little bit less than 33% and still make some profit. But even if they had 35%, we're talking like a couple extra percents of profit than just mining normally. So this has nothing to do with profit, guys. What's happening with Cubic has absolutely nothing to do with being more profitable on Monero as miners. It has everything to do with disrupting the chain and obviously promoting their shitcoin. So a little bit of a side trail there on what's happening, but this whole simulation thing I've made is I've had to dive into the literature to simulate the different types of selfish mining, and it has been illuminating seeing the kinds of outputs that I get. Still trying to work out a couple very, very nuanced details, but I'm very close to putting out a report on exactly the kinds of different like distinctions that we see in selfish mining in Monero. Anyways, yet I digress. Back to Monero price report. Okay, so we talked about, I guess we've talked about most of the Monero stuff. I'm sorry, Red 132FR. We are now going to move on to other coins. Gasp. Let's see. We have seen FTT in purple, in light purple, has been doing these crazy movements, up, down, probably, I don't know, going to do some more up. FTT was a token waiting for its moment to come back a little bit. I don't necessarily think it's not like it's not going to come back to stay here for a long time and be the coin. But it's going to try and make a comeback. XRP, actually, believe it or not, performing less good than the other stuff. Monero, in terms of its Z-scores, right, getting back into the middle of the pack a little bit. I don't have Zcash on here, but whatever. We won't take a look at that. Do we want to look at the other privacy coins, though? Is there anything else we missed? I think we did miss everything else is like Xano has kind of gone sideways. A little bit of a comeback for Xano, but hasn't done anything interesting lately. And Firo also hasn't really done too much interesting lately. But what we can do is look at Pirate Chain, because Pirate Chain continues to do kind of these big movements. Sorry. All right. So yeah, we had another big pump. Interesting. Pirate Chain pumped bigly within a few days, right? What would that be? Probably about 70%, I bet. Maybe 50. Dang it. Come on. There we go. 70%. Wow. Nailed it. Yeah. So Pirate Chain pumped 70% in the past week. Okay, I guess good for Pirate Chain holders. Still got a long ways to go to get back to the glory days of where it was, right? You're looking, Pirate Chain goes back to its all-time high. That's, you're looking at a genuine 100x. Honestly, like if I had to gamble on 100x, it would not be Zcash, right? It would be Pirate Chain. I mean, there's other coins I'd probably gamble 100x on, but I don't see Zcash as being able to do 100x. But maybe Pirate Chain can somehow do something and pull off another massive pump. I'm not saying that it will. I'm just saying that, it's one of these crazy coins that has done stuff before, where Zcash has only gone down. Right? Let's see, that would be 61x if they got back to the all-time high. So, I mean, and that's like insane. Like this kind of movement is just insane. Don't expect that's going to happen, guys. In fact, look at this chart. You can see this right here. At best, you would maybe hope Pirate Chain could get back to this blue line. It could maybe get back to the standard deviation there. So hypothetically, if it could do that from its current price, that would be somewhere between a 4 and a 5x. So maybe, you could hope to get a 4 or 5x on Pirate Chain, right? That's possible. Very low liquidity, so it's easy to.
I have recently had some people shilling Darrow, yes, Darrow, once again on X.
Darrow. Bro, you stole my meme. I'm not mad about it. I'm just glad that people like it, but you stole my meme.
What is your meme?
Mom, can we get some privacy coins? No, we have privacy coins at home. Or can we get some Monero? No, we have Monero at home. And it's like hot wasabi. And then was it hot wasabi and Darrow? And
oh, it's Darrow, yeah. Darrow and whatever else.
Yeah, it was like the wrong logo for all of them.
Oh, you made that, huh?
I made that. I can't remember.
It was like yeah. That's awesome.
No, but it's fine. I'm just glad that someone posted it, because I'm shadow banned anyways. So please steal my shit and post it so people can get enjoyment from it. I've actually said I need to go back through the old. Someone needs to go back through all of the Monero memes on Reddit and just like post them. Just like start posting them regularly.
I found quite a large amount. I have quite a large collection now for when I was doing the video, so I probably should just post one every day.
Yeah, grab the good ones. It would be worth it because Reddit's fucking dead. The internet's dead, man. Dead internet theory. God, it's just gotten worse.
It's real.
I can't play chess. It's always against bots. Like, you could just tell the way bots move is just so different than the way humans move. They try to mimic the way humans play, but it's obvious. And then you like the engagement on. I just scroll through Twitter and it's like, God, it's just, you can just see the bot comments and the nonsense and the bullshit, and then the promoted accounts, you know, the big guys, and it's just like, it's so disheartening. But you know, maybe that's a good thing. All right, you don't need to be on social media anyways. All right, let's take a look at the macro, guys. Let's see what's happened with the macro. Gold continues to perform, gold is breaking all my models at this moment. With the most recent price movement here, gold is breaking my models. My model would at least say, hey, you know, come back down here for a little bit and then come back, you know, go back to the upside. But I don't think that's going to happen anymore at this point. So I know that this purple line now looks like that it's higher. That is an artifact. That is actually, it's an artifact of the way that the chart gets put together. I'm not necessarily convinced that that is correct. This line actually, I hate to diverge here for a minute, but that's the weekly chart. Let's go take a look at the 3-day chart and notice how that line slightly moves. Or maybe we can look at the 2-day chart and notice that that line is moving depending on the candles. It's because you can only calculate each value on the basis of the candle close. So as you get more resolution, the values on that can change to the point that sometimes when you're looking at stuff on the monthly, here's the best way I can put it. The 10 period moving average is not the same on monthly candles as it is for daily candles, right? If you have a moving average and you switch to the daily candles, it's going to be different. Now, that's not quite the case here. It's not quite the case here because reasons. I won't get into the math, but the purple line is actually supposed to be like a continuous, like over the entire history of the chart. But again, when you lose the resolution by going to monthly candles, you get different values. So the only one that I actually trust is the daily version of this line, of the purple, of the solid purple line. I only trust the daily version of it because that has enough resolution that it stops changing if you were to get the resolution any finer. Anyways, gold is looking like it's going to continue to perform. I didn't expect it was going to go to 4,000 post haste, but looks like I'm eating my words on that one. I'm happy to eat my words. I am a holder of gold. So like I said, I thought I should sell here, but I couldn't think of anything else I wanted to buy. So gold it is, right? Just hanging on to gold. And Tux has finally coerced me into showing the silver price as well now. You've reminded me enough times, bro, and you're right? Like, this silver is hitting all-time highs, not quite there yet, 47.979. And to actually hit the all-time high, we need to actually get like 50 on the dot, basically 49.8 to actually get to the all-time high. But it's going there, right? It's silver is going to do that. And in fact, this silver chart is almost a reason to tell ourselves that gold isn't done either, right? Gold is like, if silver looks this bullish, it's gonna have to take some time to cool off, right? Like, it's gonna hit this spot here, and it's gonna need to do something for a minute. But this is a very bullish setup for silver, and maybe it could even take a few months. Who knows? Maybe it has to do some shit like that. There could be like a macro crash or something. You know, it'll probably take through next year before we really like sustainably go above 50. But or maybe it gets above 50 for a little bit, right? Maybe it starts flirting with the 55, 60, and then crashes with some macro crash next year, right? So it's going to take some time before it's solidly forever never below 50 again. But this is a bullish setup on this chart. So given that, it does kind of make us want to say that gold should continue to be bullish. Frank Rogowski on YouTube says gold will be over $4,000 soon. It's more of a failure of confidence or loss of in fiat systems and government debt. Gold holder as well. Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a significant loss of confidence happening in the system. Don't get me wrong, like, everybody still has to use dollars, and people still use fucking dollars all the time, and what are you going to do? But yeah, I mean, it's not the system falling apart yet, but maybe in a lot of ways we could probably just suspect that this is gold, breaking out of the suppression under which it has been for so long, right? Like, It continues to be suppressed. It's going to continue to be suppressed. That that the cabal got long gold before this breakout happened. They know when the pressure valve has to release, they're not going to let the train explode, right? So they're releasing that pressure right now, and according to what we've seen before, right? Like we should continue to see another big movement here. Gold is breaking out of a rising wedge on a months-long time frame, like in a technical analysis standpoint, like breaking to the upside in a bullish scenario of a rising wedge triangle is extremely bullish. So, yeah. I mean, don't sell your gold, guys. Just hang on to it. It's real money, anyways, right? Like your gold is saving money with the potential for some big gains, right? You have the potential to make big gains with gold, right? It's typically a savings vehicle, but sometimes it can make big gains. I am looking at oil here and raising an eyebrow. This is slightly concerning. I don't know why. I know sometimes things that I say are just like testicle analysis, but my intuition on this chart is that it's fine. We're still above 60, and I kind of said, hey, that 60 level is the place where you start to get worried. We are not in the worry zone, but we are on the low side of where you might get worried, right? So gold had this kind of floor here at $61.50 for a period of time, and it's sort of broken down from the past few months. It's barely, right? It's barely broken down. We really have to expand the chart to see this, and it's only been in the past couple days. So like I said, the gold breakdown is our alpha into the next macro crash, but I just don't see a macro crash, guys. Like I don't see it anywhere else. So it's hard for me to look at this one thing and say the macro crash is imminent. Especially, we've got the bonds. Do we have the bonds? Why does my TradingView always just gets rid of my charts? I don't know why. It all like for example, I'm not always looking at a quadruple Tron, guys. It's just that TradingView refuses to save my changes. I looked at Tron once and it kept it here forever, and now it won't save it. So anyways, don't think that I'm into Tron. Let's see. What were we going here? I lost my train of thought. Whatever. All right. We were looking at bonds. Okay. So yeah, so bonds here, Jay Powell lowered rates last week, but like bonds are not telling us, they're not flashing any warning signs here. The civilian unemployment is actually showing us kind of a warning sign. We need to get the next numbers. It's still historically low. 4.3 is not high, right? So it's not a problem. Inflation, it seems to be stable enough at 3%, right? Maybe they can't ever get it back down to 2% consistently. Who knows? Inflation is stable at 3%. The M2 continues to go up. Let's see. I just don't see anything here that's concerning that would tell us that that the show is over. So even though oil is down, and I have been saying watch oil, be careful about oil, it's it's still above 60, which is kind of that point that I said, hey, that's actually our concern point is below 60. Stock market S&P continues to just be in that zone, right? We talked about this channel. We said, hey, expect it to get back in this channel, and it's going to stay there, right? There's so much juice to squeeze out of this market. People are like, AI is a bubble, it's going to pop. Sure, eventually, but not tomorrow. Probably not tomorrow. It's going to pop, but there's still juice to squeeze out of this market. There's still M2 money flowing into the corporate, apparatus. Elon Musk has been brought to heel to Donald Trump. I don't know if you guys saw the body language, but he met Trump at like a football game, and then he looked like a little lapdog. Like the body language was bad. So first he goes from saying Trump is on the Epstein list, and now they've made up, and Elon is showing the body language of a submissive Wiener Schnitzel or a Dachshund. All right. Anyways, whatever. Fuck you, Musk, for shadow banning me. All right. So yep, stocks are good. Gonna continue being good. Oil slightly concerning, but not really, not yet. Right. If we see below 60 and staying below 60, right, that's when we'll get a little bit more concerned. Let's take a look at the liquidity. I haven't looked at this chart in a while. Okay, yeah, green. So US liquidity continues to climb. All right. Let's see. Frank Rogowski says, I saw yesterday institutions are dumping a percentage of equities for treasury bills and for gold, and retail bought the equities, keeping the market up. That was the thesis. I really not know. I not know either, Frank. Money does flow from one place to another. It doesn't just go to money heaven unless you repay your loan. Then it does go to money heaven, which is actually money hell. But yeah, I mean, typically money just flows from one place to another. So there was a weird tick that I saw a couple weeks ago. I didn't report on it here, but it was money seemed to just like disappear. Like it didn't go into gold or metals. It didn't go into stocks. It actually went out of stocks, and it didn't go into bonds, right? Bonds actually went the opposite direction. So it looked like money disappeared for a period of time, but maybe that was just people doing some reallocations, or I don't know, investing in a company or some set of companies or something like that. But anyways, yeah, the U.S. liquidity in green continues to rise, right? So again, M2, Federal Reserve balance sheet, and Treasury, U.S. Treasury continues to rise. So again, macro looking fine. We talked about gold. Dixie dollar index is also just stable here at the bottom. Again, stability is the name of macro. That's what you want to see. When you see stable macro, you just know that things should continue going up. So, yeah, and we've talked. Did we get to Bitcoin? I don't think we did. I think I actually diverted for a minute here. All right, Bitcoin actually is now back at all-time highs. Not quite making a new all-time high, but 123,000. So Bitcoin chart looking bullish. Let's go to the weekly. You can see, this thing does look bullish. This is actually looking. It's looking slightly rounded, right? This thing is looking kind of like maybe like this or something, but still bullish, right? And then we also have total, like we've said, total looks bullish as well. Overall, this is a bullish chart, so expect this thing to continue. Wait, that's total 3. Let's go to actual total. Yeah, so again, total 3 is bullish, right? So altcoins are bullish, and total cryptocurrency is also bullish as well, right? This thing has beautiful channels to ride up and up and up. And probably what we should expect is to just kind of stay in this zone here, right? This is the zone that we should expect to stay in. And that's nice. Like you should be happy to just get consistent gains like that. That's the kind of thing that you want to see. I know everyone wants to see their 10x, but guys, the problem with a 10x is you don't know how to get in and out of a 10x. You have to be retarded to hold something to 20x. You have to be retarded to hold it for that long because you should take your profits. So if you're either have good insight, great insight, or you're retarded, you can get the 20x. But most people that get the 20x are retarded and they don't have great insight. So you know what that means? They don't sell, right? They don't sell. And so, yeah, if you get the 20x, you're going to write it back down. So you kind of have to get lucky in a lot of ways or have great insight. It's hard to get those 20x's and hang on to them. So what is better for most of the plebs out there, I'm not saying you, I'm the other plebs, is to just hope for steady, consistent gains, right? You feel good. You don't want to get out. You feel like there's more gains on the way. And there probably are, right? That's crypto is going to become more and more like stocks in the sense that, that it's a larger market cap and, it moves slowly. Roy asks, do you think BTC is due for a decent retrace bounty? No, I do not, sir. I don't see any reason for us to suspect a large retrace on Bitcoin. Actually, I just saw something. I want to draw another line here. I want to change the way I draw a line. Yeah, that's probably a bit more appropriate to do that one. No, I don't think Bitcoin is due for a retrace. If anything, it's probably ready to start making new all-time highs. I'm not saying it's going to soon. Soon within the next month probably seems pretty reasonable to me. But no, Bitcoin is not due for a retrace, bro. Don't be selling. Don't be trying to don't get short this market, right? That's a mistake. It's a huge fucking mistake. Do not get short this market unless you know what the fuck you're doing. And most of you don't know what you're doing. Like in terms of trading short term like that, trading with leverage, the equations are horrible. When you really go do the math, the leverage trading equations are horrible. Decentralized platform, the trading equations are horrible. They rape you on fees. Like you're just not, it's hard to do. Your best, everybody out there, please, the majority of your stack, the vast majority of your stack should be played not as a trading, but as reallocations. At some point, we're going to look at this market. The financial conditions are going to change. The macro is going to reverse. The winds of change will be in the air. And then we're going to say, okay, let's figure out how to do some rebalancing of the portfolio, right? You should be rebalancing your portfolio from time to time, 0 to 3 times a year, not trading, not trying to find, I think Bitcoin is due for a retrace, right? Let me sell everything and then get back in lower, because you know what happens when you do that. You think Bitcoin's due for a retrace, so you sell and you say, hey, I'm going to buy down here at 90,000, and then Bitcoin goes to 140 and you just missed out, right? And the more that you do that, the more gains that you lose over time. You just got to get in the market. You got to get long. You got to stay long. And then you have to very carefully choose your moments to sell. But that should be accompanied with a broad sea change in the macro picture, which we don't have right now. So, the name of the game is get long, stay long, boys. That would be my registered financial advice formally, officially. I am a lawyer, accountant, and also I am your lawyer and accountant. So I can give you financial advice. So get long and stay long. Hopefully everyone knows how retarded I am for saying that, because all of those are lies. Okay, there is nothing else here to talk about. I think we've covered everything ad nauseum. So I'm going to hand this back over to Tux and Doug.